We're now officially recording, and it's time where I say, hello, everybody. Welcome to another one of our video podcast things, our title, I just call it Dr. Peter's Sci-Fi Classics, or Underrated Sci-Fi Gems, or the title is still an ever-changing thing as well for this little thing we're doing.
Yeah, I like the idea of having no specific title, because the movie we're going to talk about today is not really a lost classic or anything, but is certainly worth discussing, I think.
Yes, we have discussions about sci-fi movies of varying degrees, and that's the thing, you never know what you're going to hear about on here anyway. So today we're talking about Slipstream, as the title will probably indicate, which is a 1989, let's see if I can remember, science fiction, obviously, movie, which is billed as starring Mark Hamill, and Bill Paxton was in it, and actually a couple other big people had minor roles, like Ben Kingsley's there for a second, blink and you'll miss him, and apparently F. Murray Abrams in there, and see, we'll already go off the rails, but there's actually an actor, the one actor there that plays the prisoner that's being escorted. I kept looking at him like, I know this guy from somewhere, but I couldn't place it, and I was like, I know him from just one thing, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
And you know what it was?
It's Jurassic Park.
It's Muldoon. It's the clever girl, the hunter, but such a different character.
Yeah, playing it very differently.
So, that threw me. But basically, this was one that was on our list of things to talk about. You suggested, which I thought was interesting. It's kind of a sort of a dystopian, not dystopian, but post-apocalyptic Mad Max thing where that you can help me with this, because we both watched it a little while ago, but I think this is it. The cause of devastation this time is, I guess it's unclear, pollution, climate issues created this horrible windstorm. Which is this is automatically a problem I have with the movie. But windstorms are like an issue, and I guess it's reduced people to limited technology, right? Tribalism, but the primary mode of transportation, for some reason, is the slipstream by which people can travel on little planes. Just brief summary for this plot in this setting. Basically, the Muldoon guy is apparently a murderer. These bounty hunters, one of whom is Mark Hamill, is after him, but he is basically accosted and kidnapped by Bill Paxton, who's sort of a criminal with a heart of gold type, buffoon thief sort of guy who's just saying, I'm going to turn this guy in for the reward money, and it's about their adventure on the slipstream as they bond, and a lot of things happen in not the best pacing, but anyway, that's I'm gonna leave. I already thought of a couple of issues. I'm gonna try to keep it. So I'm gonna turn this over to you, Peter, because I've been talking too long. First of all, what stuck out to you as wanting to talk about this one? Had you seen it?
I had not seen it before this. It's one that comes up in the science fiction forums as one of the again, not a lost classic or anything, but something that has been overlooked, that kind of got lost in the shuffle. It's a movie, like we said, from 1989 that really feels like it's from the 70s. Yeah,
except for when they blare that one 80s track, which is very 80s, which they thought was very cool.
Yeah, but this is one of those movies that you're like, if it wasn't for grizzled Mark Hamill, I would be like, oh yeah, this is some, low-budget Czechoslovakian 70s science fiction movie, but it is more than that.
It's a lot of different things. I want to say it's a lot of unrealized ideas and great potential. I'll start off by saying that I'm guessing, as they often tried back then, to use Mark Hamill as the draw, the casting choice. He's not the main character of the movie. He is playing an interesting character. I would say he is kind of the closest thing we have to an antagonist.
Yeah.
Though I don't really feel 100% comfortable calling him that, because he's only really a villain for maybe, it's unclear until towards the end of the movie. But I love his outfit. I love the close black tight, I get the real bounty hunter grizzled vibe. I think he does a good job with the role. I wish there was more of him in it.
It definitely feels like they had him for 2 weeks
and said, we gotta film him quick while he's here. Let me see. All right. I guess something. I'll try to just go around with things that jumbled around in my head, and you can tell me how you felt about it. I think one of the big surprises for me, I think the coolest thing about the movie is not the Slipstream, actually. That's a whole issue. But the coolest thing about the movie is it is touching on some really classic sci-fi ideas, I think you'll agree, because spoilers, this will be the spoiler tag, probably the biggest thing in the movie is the murderer, who is this very devout, pious, religious man. Seems actually very peaceful for the most part. He gets a lot of opportunities to get away or kill Bill Paxton. He doesn't. Yeah. And it turns out that he was essentially programmed that way. He was a robot. And so it's very interesting. You've got this product of technology who is also very devout, and he eventually killed his master. Was it, I think, was it to try to escape, or was it because he was ordered to?
It was. Yeah, it's like somehow he had to, like he's trying to like bring peace to the world, and somehow that was part of it. It's weird. That's vague, but basically he had to kill his master for some reason, and he wasn't really a murderer exactly. It sort of had to be done, and the whole movie, even though it's kind of a sci-fi, has almost this like traditional fantasy quest of like, oh, this is this guy. He's on sort of this spiritual journey, and they run across these tribes who worship the Slipstream and the wind gods, and they put him up in this kite basket thing and say, if he's destined to live, he'll survive. And it's treated almost like there's this mystical quality, like we're following some legendary folk tale. It's this, but it's not. That's really more of a happenstance thing. Like he's just a robot. And then when they eventually get I see. There's a lot. This screenplay is really wacky, and it's not the most organized. So eventually they introduce this love interest for the robot who almost comes out of nowhere. She's there for like when they go to the one village, and I guess she's impressed by him and decides to go with them. Yeah. And he falls in love with her, and the robot goes through this development where he actually does feel like he can fall in love. He really cares about something. And he has this great moment where he actually realizes he's free when Bill Paxton saves him, and then he starts to actually have all these crises about, oh no, I don't know how do I feel, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, how do you deal with this, and that was a very cute human moment. But I feel like the movie could have almost leaned into that more. Yeah, it feels like so much unrealized potential because there's so many
different things going on, right?
So many different things that if the focus was more on the Muldoon bot, if it was more on, or more on Hamill, there's a lot of ways that it could have gone differently. That just feels like there's ideas there, and they just kind of like didn't have the budget to shoot more than one take of a scene sometimes, or.
Well, yeah, literally that's true. It does feel like sometimes it's like pieces of the movie are missing. Like, for instance, towards the end, which created another issue. I'm going to have more issues to talk about this movie, unfortunately, but I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt first. Like, I thought it was great because it was clear that either there was a scene that was cut for some reason, or they just didn't film it, where we cut to the sanctuary place where they're hiding out, and all these people are murdered. Like, apparently there was a big shootout where Mark Hamill and his partner killed all these people. And it's like nobody outside heard. It was just very bizarre. It was a bizarre cut. And so the movie feels sort of disjointed. And it doesn't help that the early part of it kind of drags a little, like in the middle part. Yeah. When they're wandering around from a couple different deserts, it's like, Hagrid's in this too. Yep. Briefly. Yep. Yeah. He's in it. So there's a lot of good people in this movie, but a lot of them don't have much to do. Like you've got Ben Kingsley as like the prophet guy, and he's barely there. He's unrecognizable almost. Yeah. And his I think it was supposed to be an impactful moment, but it's shot in the dark, and it's just, I don't know. It could a lot of the stuff feels like it could have been redone and more polished. But all right, I'll save. I've got two questions for you. Sure. Well, one's more of a statement, and then I'll get your opinion, and then another's a question. The first one is one of my biggest issues, in addition to everything I've complained about already, is that I think this is another one of those examples of they had this cool premise, like Mad Max. There's not enough oil. Everybody's going to be on dirt bikes, or Waterworld. It's all water. Their thing was windstorms, which we get like a scene or two where it's kind of an issue, but we don't get enough of that in the movie where it feels like it's a problem.
Yeah, I agree.
And the Slipstream, whoa, man.
Yeah.
It's so cool because they can fly on their little planes. They have these. Those are probably some of the bigger shots where they could have the stunts. And,
a lot of good aerial shots of
planes,
planes.
And in the valleys, and it's fine. But it's not. I don't think it's quite as cool or looks quite as cool as it thinks it is. There's a as a hook for your post-apocalyptic wasteland. I don't. How do you feel about the Slipstream wind thing? Because it didn't really work for me. But.
Yeah, I like the idea. We can talk a little more about what we thought worked in the movie.
Sure.
But part of that point, I mentioned that this feels like a movie from the 70s coming out in 1989. This is 3 years after Top Gun, which did planes in the air and did it so. And that Gary Kurtz is not Tony Scott.
Sure.
But we'd seen it. People had done it. We'd seen these really crazy, challenging stunts 3 years before this with a bigger budget. And I don't. This is not a huge budget movie, although it had enough money, more than, again, some, forgotten 70s foreign science fiction movie.
So I guess you're thinking it's really just riding off the we love planes, jets, Top Gun was a success. Let's try to do our own thing with that.
Well, it's very. So Gary Kurtz was one of the producers on Star Wars, the original trilogy, and this was going to be his Star Wars. And I thought that he's like, we're going to have like these cool dogfights, and I don't know. My impression is the budget just wasn't there to do everything he wanted to, and maybe the technology wasn't there yet.
Maybe not quite.
But my impression is these are actual planes, gliders, whatever they're shooting, rather than models.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It looked like it.
Yeah.
No, I think that was cool. I think that, you talk about Top Gun, and obviously, like, the level of stunts there is amazing. And this clearly they just couldn't do as much.
No.
It's mostly just them flying. There's a couple moments. The climax is mostly a fight in a cockpit.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a very claustrophobic, intimate battle, which looked like it was kind of on a cheap set inside, which probably wasn't inside the cockpit. But I appreciate that. I bought it. So the Slipstream, I think, is interesting. But I know that you are a big fan of Bill Paxton. So I wanted to ask you how you felt about him and his character in this film.
I really enjoyed that aspect of it because I came in expecting Bill Paxton to play his, as he did in Terminator, just be, he's a thug and he'll be in it for a bit and he'll be, swiftly dispatched. I didn't expect him to become the main character. That was a fun surprise, and I thought that was a well-handled arc. Both him and Hamill, because the start of the movie is, Mark Hamill, okay, it's Luke Skywalker, it's our hero, maybe a little more in the Han Solo mode, and then this young punk steals his quarry, and they gotta go chasing after him, but it slowly builds that Bill Paxton has a little more character, and there's a little more depth here, and he gets to kind of, play a leading man in a way that he really hadn't to this point. This is still fairly early in his career. It's 3 years after Aliens.
Would you say it's kind of leading into sort of the type of roles he would typically do? Like, is this more that charming Bill Paxton we usually would see?
Yeah, the charm isn't quite there yet. He hasn't quite figured this out. We're not like full blockbuster, twister Bill Paxton yet. But the elements are there. He's still growing as an actor in a way that is interesting to see. And I think this is sort of a good linkage, again, between Aliens and, say, Twister, of kind of this development of him as an actor.
Do you think that the way the character was written, do you think it was charming? Do you think it was a bit whimsical, shall we say? Because I kind of felt like, maybe I didn't know if this was the intention or not, but I felt the way he was written and the way certain things happened in the movie, it felt like every single success he had was luck. was pure happenstance. And I like that he was cocky, like he didn't realize how lucky he was.
Yeah.
Like, I guess, but I just felt like it was interesting. We had a character who really, for the most part, was successful, maybe because the script said it was so, or was there something else they were going for? I didn't know if that was intentional or if that was sloppy writing.
I'll credit them for Mark Hamill is a badass through and through, and they're clear up front, and the only way because that's even the opening fight sort of between them is Mark Hamill has him dead to rights, and then gets hit by a random plane because he's standing on a runway. It's a hilarious moment because it comes out of nowhere.
No, that was pretty funny.
But yeah, it is. Again, it's sort of the things that we accept in Star Wars. We go, oh yeah, like Luke Skywalker's got the Force, so of course the Stormtroopers can't hit him. But here it is a little bit more noticeable, maybe.
But like I said, maybe that's like the whole movie is kind of going for. Like I was thinking, almost the journey, the mystical journey quality. I'm kind of getting like I don't know. The closest thing I could think of that's coming to mind is like Willow, where there's like sort of a silly, whimsical charm. Like maybe the characters have some skill, but there is a lot of just luck, and maybe there's certain forces on their side. I don't know. I'm trying to be. Maybe I'm interpreting it in a way to give the film a favor. I don't know.
No, I think Willow's a good point of comparison. Again, we talked about the fantasy-ness of this up front, but I think there is something to do with that. Gary Kurtz was involved in that as well.
Oh, okay.
So I think there is something to that in that sense of storytelling, and as with Willow, sometimes the heroes succeed mostly through dumb luck and a little bit of ingenuity, being able to take advantage of random events that kind of work out in certain ways. But because Bill Paxton, to his credit, as soon as Mark Hamill gets up out of the plane, he runs away with the Muldoon bot. So
that's true.
He does take advantage of that and manages to get out of there in a way that again was unexpected. It was kind of I never could tell where this movie was going to go next.
That is true. And one thing I will say that's a positive is I didn't really see the twist coming.
Yeah.
And I will admit, when he was sitting back there with the prisoner, with the bot, the Muldoon bot, and it's such close quarters, I'm thinking very easily this person could try to strangle him, and he keeps saying he's not going to, and there's so much mystery about why he killed him, and he's obviously just vaguely quoting scripture and saying very non-specific things, and it's just like he seems strange and he seems kind of oddly threatening because he's not giving off much emotion, and then of course we find out more about him is quite the opposite. But I like that you don't really know what to expect from some of these people, or really, I mean, it's a pro and a con, but you're not really sure who to root for much of the movie.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe to the film's credit that nobody's like the good guy or the pure villain. Everybody's doing what they're doing, usually for selfish reasons or unclear. So it is one of the more.
Well, it's realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's non-traditional where you don't just have like your clear good guy, bad guy, very anti-Star Wars, obviously. But you're right. Every character is motivated by what motivates them, and it might be selfish. Some of them are just doing a job. Like Mark Hamill's character has just been doing it for a long time, and he's really focused on basically saying you got to kill every criminal because honestly it's just good for environment. Really, keep the population down. Yeah. It's not really any sweat off his back. But obviously he might have gone off the deep end a little bit as well. And I like how, speaking to that, how it's just kind of circumstantial and people just trying to figure out their roles. The final battle is really just, the Muldoon bot wants revenge for his new girlfriend getting killed, basically, and then goes after Mark Hamill. But even then, it's like, that's just two people going at each other based on what they think they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
In that moment, it's purely emotionally driven, and it's kind of a smaller thing. It's not an epic thing. I mean, they're on the plane and they're about ready to crash, and I do like that Muldoon bot does have that turn of conscience thing where he actually tries to save Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
So Mark Hamill kind of ends up destroying himself. So maybe that's nuanced, and
again, I wish that they had the time and money to do what they were trying to do.
Like flesh things out more. It does feel like a movie where honestly parts of it are missing. There's scenes or things that are a little bit out of order. There's maybe one of those things that would work better as a miniseries. Slipstream on HBO.
Do a 6-episode reboot. HBO. You can even cast Mark Hamill again and just make him older and more grizzled. But
that's true. That's true. Would they CGI Bill Paxton though?
Oh, that's a good question.
Maybe if they had the money. Oh, another thing that I will admit I thought was interesting. I kind of liked it, but Bill Paxton kind of has that romance with Mark Hamill's partner. The female bounty hunter lady, and she clearly, is saying she doesn't like him, but is given to his charms, which is kind of funny. But really, I guess she sort of changes based on one pivotal scene, one moment. And I would have been more accepting of that romance and just said, hey, it's a movie, whatever. Sure, that's fine. She's got a soft side for him. But she said earlier that she had was with Mark Hamill as a partner for a long time, very close, and Mark Hamill, his character dies horribly. And I guess all's forgiven at the end of the movie, and she just gets with Bill Paxton with no problem whatsoever.
It was very abrupt, and again...
Once again, it's like we could have fleshed this out, but I thought that was strange, and also just the fact that she also, in that other scene that was cut where she and Mark Hamill murdered all those people, this literally just happened like a few minutes ago, and we skipped some things here, so some of that stuff was a bit weird. But I that's pretty much all the issues I have with it. Are there any positives you'd like to talk about we didn't mention?
So my favorite thing about this is the world building, and not the Slipstream, because that's that could be better explained.
Sure.
But I loved that they go to 4 or 5 different
locations,
locations.
You've got your cantina at the beginning.
Cantina, the hot tub, the
wind people, the underground people, and 4 places.
But all of them feel distinct in a way that no fault to the Mad Max. I love Mad Max movies, but it's always
similar.
There's always a dichotomy. In Road Warrior we got the people of the desert that are all dressed in white, and the weird BDSM raiders, and that's pretty much. There's always 2 societies in these post-apocalyptic movies, but this
very clear line.
This has 4 that feel specific, that feel like their own thing and function in their own way, have different. When Bill Paxton goes to the hot tub people
with Haggard.
With Haggard on Train. They have a conversation about the social mores and rules in
that town.
But I think again, this is something I would love to have a miniseries that explores.
You can have a whole episode on that town, or a season in that town.
And it's a way that again the Slipstream is a little bit underexplained.
It's kind of funny,
but it actually does it in a way of what does society look like 20 years, 100 years, however many years after this cataclysm, in a way that we don't always get in outside of maybe something like the Fallout games. We don't always get in.
I was going to say that I'm glad you pointed out the way you described each city as kind of having its own little social structure that's distinct and lived in, but not drastically, comedically different. It is very much like Fallout. So that's true, and you're right. That the way this world makes itself distinct in those little ways is something that is unique. It is a unique movie. Definitely. Yes, no, I agree. I think the world building is good. I do like the touches. Once again, I would have liked a little more, but when they go to the wind people, I think it's interesting. You have people that worship the wind stream, the slipstream, the windstorms, the wind gods, and ooh, this would be interesting. I'd like to learn more about this culture, and they've got the person prophesying, and it's just, even if it is disconnected and it's just these people's beliefs and not really a thematic thing with the story, it's still just a cool thing to explore. They literally have done this sacrificial thing with the kite basket in the storm before. It's clearly something that's not new to them. So yeah, that stuff was interesting. I also kind of do like the humor of the movie, like Bill Paxton and his interplay with some of the characters. There's a sense of fun to it.
Yeah.
That's really only interrupted by Mark Hamill. He's kind of whenever we cut back to him, he's the serious force of it's not all fun and games.
Yeah. But even Mark Hamill, there's like we said, opening, he gets hit by a plane.
There's some levity.
I feel like he's in on the joke, but he's sort of playing the straight man.
He's trying to play the straight man, which I'm glad someone is.
Yeah.
But you're right. No, there's sort of just a light-hearted sense of fun that runs throughout it. It's kind of relaxing to watch.
Yeah, it is an easy watch. I had fun watching it. It's a movie that I don't think it's something that plays on cable often, but if I saw it on some afternoon, I might throw it on just because it is pretty relaxed, low-key. You don't, it's not Star Wars, it's not Willow, but...
Not everything has to be.
No,
definitely. I think that if you're interested in science fiction, especially if you like your post-apocalyptic stuff, it's worth a watch. I can't personally say that I loved it. I actually found myself... I think you liked it more than I did. I found myself wavering in my attention at points or just getting frustrated by things. You know me, I try to give things the benefit of the doubt, but I was finding a lot of issues with the movie.
Yeah.
But you know something, a lot of times an interesting and probably troubled production creates something interesting to talk about. And I think this movie has that. There's some creativity. I agree. It would be nice if somebody tried this again as like a series or something.
Yeah, this is just a world that could be very interesting, and my point with it is that I agree. My attention often did wane, but then I would go to a new thing. Okay, we've escaped to the new place, and it was different. That always got my attention. Okay, so now we're with the weird underground utopia,
the high society.
Yeah. It's not a long movie.
No, what hour 40 or something?
Yeah, hour 40. Yeah, it's
not that long.
Not that long. It does drag at times. I agree, but it's sort of if you've seen all the other great 80s science fiction, or you love the post-apocalyptic, this is, I think, worth checking out.
I also would say if you're a big Bill Paxton fan.
Yeah. This is an important.
Stepping stone?
Yeah,
maybe?
stepping stone. I wish that Mark Hamill was in it more.
He was fine. I think he played a very interesting character.
Yeah, I wish we got more. I'm saying I wish we had more development with him.
I've actually never seen it. Who knows? Maybe it'll make an appearance on the show sometime. But is he in this more or less than Guyver?
It's been so long since I've seen Guyver. I think he's in this. He's not in Guyver because
he's like the one standing Guyver or something.
He does. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe this is better for that. Mark Hamill had a strange career for a bit there.
Yeah. Again, this is that post Star Wars, pre
Batman.
Yeah. And his, descent into voice acting that is, I think, probably for many people more what they're familiar with than. I mean, everyone knows it from Star Wars, but...
Well, just as a quick mini conversation, what do you think is more iconic or impactful from Mark Hamill? Luke Skywalker or the Joker?
I think Luke Skywalker...
See, I don't know.
His Joker is so important to every Joker that came after. Like, Nicholson did his own thing, and then Mark Hamill did his own thing. But everyone since, Heath Ledger, I feel like, is and Jared Leto, and even Joaquin Phoenix is sort of borrowing from the Mark Hamill
a little bit as a template.
Yeah,
that's true. Is this movie in the top 10 Mark Hamill movies?
No.
No. Okay. Well, why? Well, let's see. You've got a couple Star Wars movies. You've got
3 Star Wars.
Master the Phantasm, I guess.
We got 5 Star. We got 6 Star.
Wait, yeah. Well, if you want, sure, they're better movies. I'll say that maybe in some ways.
It'll say between Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi, there's one good movie. So.
Oh wow, that's a side conversation.
That's
Brother to the Man, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm just trying
I'd say Phantasm.
Oh well, I liked him in Kingsman.
Oh yeah.
It's a good one.
That was fun. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of other ones.
Yeah,
does Body Bags count? And it's a TV movie.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he was good in
John
that.
Carpenter's involved, so I feel like that.
I like that.
Raises the level. Yeah.
I don't know how we lost count. I think it's close to 10.
Yeah, that seems close. I'm sure there's some B movies that are
decent, better than Slipstream. Oh wow. Well, look.
Yeah.
But we still. I think we recommend it for people that are listening to this or watching this. You probably will get something out of it.
Yeah, it's if you've seen all the Mad Maxes, you've done Beastmaster, you've seen the Conans, the RoboCops. This is worth watching, but there's a reason that it does not have the cultural cachet that many other films from this period do. I think it's important. I think it's interesting. If you love good world building and set design, costuming, this is well worth checking out. But it is sort of an advanced level science fiction movie.
Yes, it's definitely if it's not it shouldn't be your first foray into this stuff.
No.
You definitely recommend Mad Max over Slipstream to start off with. But you get that palette, you want to try something a little riskier.
This is definitely, this is that after you've kind of done the foundational stuff. And I'd say that there's some violence in this, but it's pretty accessible. It's not like...
it's not too bloody, right?
Yeah, not too bloody, no sex, no swearing that I can remember.
No, not much. Was there much blood in this? What was it rated, actually? Do you remember?
Probably a PG-13.
Okay, because I didn't even check the rating.
I didn't either, but...
It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's it's probably a little boring for kids, but you might, if your kid loves Star Wars and you've done to death on those, it might be something that you
throw on in the background.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. And I guess with that, I'll say there you have it, people. That's Slipstream. So if you have watched it, let us know what you thought. If we missed something, or if you haven't, well. Check it out, let us know, and yell at us if you didn't like it, or tell us why we were wrong and it's the best thing ever. We'll take them both. And let us know recommendations. We might try to fit some of these. I know that you'll be heading out of town, so you made the effort of coming here in person, which was nice since you were in town.
Well, I wanted to, you got to make time when there's time, and there was time, today was a good day to do this. I know that you record some other videos upcoming today.
That's true. I had one over at Dan Reviews' channel. We actually did the 82. We did E.T. and The Thing.
Yeah, watch E.T. and The Thing before Slipstream. But
yes, watch them both if you have not seen them. Clearly, but yeah, I think all the ones we've done before, have they all been on Zoom? All of our sci-fi ones?
I think so.
Because we started doing this in the pandemic.
I think we talked about doing it before, but I think this was...
Well, I think this is all sidestepping the 82 conversation, the big...
82, if you haven't watched the 82 conversation, that's the...
Yes, I'll link it below. That was we talked about doing that thing for years, and we finally did.
Yeah, and that's if you're not sure where to start on science fiction, 82 is a very good year to...
Though we said that maybe as a sequel, maybe we might do other years. You said there might be other ones.
I have a list, and we can talk about that, and maybe you have some ideas for sort of what the other perfect sci-fi years might be.
I'll have to think about that.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be something in the future.
But there's some pretty dire years, but there's some pretty good ones too. So.
Okay. Well, that sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, Peter. Well, hey, thanks for coming over.
Yeah, happy to be here.
And thank you very much, and thank you for watching, listening, everybody. And I'm going to click the button and end this recording. Stay magical.